let's ask a very basic question. Why am I a Sikh? What does it mean to believe in a God? Why are we doing it? Most people will probably say that I'm interested in Sikhi because Sikhi teaches you how to be a good person, teaches you about sort of good standards and good morals in life. Some people will say that I'm into Sikhi because I want to connect to God, I want to be closer to God. Some people will say that I want to be in Sikhi because it allows me to pray to God to get the things that I want in life. If I want a good job, if I want a baby in the house or whatever it is, I'll go and do an Khan part, and I've sort of asked the universe for in the right way, in all the right ways. And some people might think that I don't know what happens when we die, so I'm going to pray because if there's a heaven or a hell, I'd rather go to the first one. Yeah? So, let me tell you now, Sikhi is not about any of these things. So what is it about? A question that people always ask in life is, why do I need religion? My life is quite comfortable. I earn good money, I've got a good job, I've got a good family, I've got a stable income, I've got everything like that, I've got education. What do I need Sikhi for? Like almost like Sikhi is for the people who are struggling with life, and religion is for the people. You know, you'll even get the very clever atheists who think that it's for the stupid people. Like if you're educated and if you're a free thinker, then you don't need religion in life. That's the way we're almost sold this idea of religion being for the inferior people. We said that, we've heard that religion is opium for the masses. It's a way to suppress people. It's a way to drug people. So let's challenge these ideas. Let's understand why are we doing it? Because this is what we're facing. When we go out in the world, this is what we're facing. This is what people are saying when they look at us. Ultimately, the secular world is looking at us and saying, these guys are lost in some way. And we're sitting here saying, we're not lost, we're the ones that are found. But only when we know what we found. So let's talk a little bit about life. Let's talk about our own life. And understand our own selves better. You know, before you try and understand this concept like God, which is something far away, let's understand ourselves better. Because we think we know ourselves, but I can guarantee that there's very little that we actually know about ourselves. Life is a struggle. Buddha said that life is suffering. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Nanak dukhiya sab sansar. The whole world is dukhi. The whole world is sad. The whole world is suffering in some way or another. So what are the types of things that we all deal with? We all deal with stress. Yeah? We all deal with running out of time, feeling a pressure of some sort. Pressure of commitments, running out of money, anything like that. You know, you just have to get late for an appointment for 5 minutes and you start shouting at everyone. Yeah, because you can't process the emotion of being late. That feeling is so stressful, we don't know what to do with it. So that's something we all face. Disillusionment, lack of fulfillment, that's a very big one. The older and older you get in life, I'll give you my own personal example. When you're young, your parents bring you up in such a way that says you've got to get a good education. And you have certain milestones mapped out in your life. So while you're young, everyone says, get a good education. Get a good education, you get a good job, right? So what have you got in the back of your head? I've got a good education, next milestone, next thing that I have to achieve is a good job. Then you get the good job. More paise aane lag pe, you're getting some money. Yeah? You can start buying all the things that you want to buy. Then your parents start putting pressure on you. Okay, you need to get married now. You say, okay, I'll get married now. It needs to happen. Then you get married. Then say, okay, you need to get a nice makan, you get a good house. Then you get kids. And I tell you my own experience. The realization I had when I had the education, the job, the money, the wife, the house and the kids, for the first time in my life I realized I don't have the next milestone mapped out for me. Now what? What am I kara? that realization for me was very unsettling. I didn't know what the next thing was. So I went to work, and I'd go to my job, and I'd come home, and we'd have the wife and the kids and do all those things. And the only thing that I could think of next was retirement. And I thought, am I supposed to do this for 40 years now? Now what do I do with life? And so that was a moment for me to start thinking about, what on earth is my life? What am I supposed to be doing here? So a lack of fulfillment is at that point. When all the things have been fulfilled and you say, but there's still... I was told that I would get the happiness when I had the house and the wife and the kids and all that stuff. I thought that that's where the happiness comes. But when you have all those and you say, but I'm still just me. There's nothing extraordinary about my life. There's no this superior feeling, this supreme experience. It doesn't come. It doesn't come even after achieving everything. So lack of fulfillment is something that, especially once you kind of go past your 30s, then you start realizing, I got nothing else to look forward to. Now where do I get that khushi from? What is the thing? Because all the milestones were supposed to be the happy milestones. When you get married, you'll be really happy. You know, there's a young man who's married to his wife, and he says, goes to his Chachaji, he says, Chachaji, we're arguing all the time. We don't know, you know, we was nice when we began, but now my wife and me, we're just arguing all the time. Kehta, but tu 5 saal wait kar la. He says, Kyun Chachaji, what happens after 5 years? Kehta, but fir aadat ban jati hai. After 5 years, then you just get used to it. That's what life is like. This is the reality that we don't get told. Yeah? That there's not this kind of final moment when you say, you know, I'm really happy. If we were really happy, at what point do we reach when we say, you know what, I've got everything in life, I don't even need to go to work, I don't need to earn any more money. We don't do that. The more we earn, the more we do, the impatience increases. The feeling of wanting to do more, to succeed more, because your standards increase. Now who you're comparing yourself against is more and more. So the bar just keeps getting raised. So that's something we all deal with, right? Anger is something we all deal with. The emotional roller coaster is something we all deal with. How many of us can control at the beginning of the day how we're going to feel for the whole day? How many of us can say today, you know what, I'm not going to get angry, I'm not going to get sad, I'm not going to get upset. So we're not in control of our emotions. Can you control when you get angry? Can you control when you're going to get sad? Can you say that whenever any sadness comes, I'm already ready to deal with it? So these are things that we're all struggling with, yeah? Conflict, dealing with difficult people, that's another really hard one. We all know people who we'd rather not be with. We all know people who at work, at school and things like that we just don't want to see, but we have to deal with them. Now how do we deal with those people? How do we deal with our emotions of those people? Body image, satisfaction with our own body, being bombarded by media images of what a body should look like. We're not satisfied in our own body. Everybody's being bombarded with this idea of what perfection is, what beauty is, what men are supposed to look like, what women are supposed to look like. So we struggle with those issues as well. So what we're doing is we're all being bombarded by these messages of what is a perfect life, and none of our lives can live up to that. In one way or the other, we're all dealing with this false image of perfection, and we don't know what to do with it. So how do we deal with all of these? What we're doing is dealing with these issues in very temporary, short-lived ways. Everybody is looking for happiness. They say that everyone is looking for some high in life. Some nasha everybody's after. So what we do is we say, chalo yaar, it's been a long time, let's go on holiday. We go on holiday. Have you ever noticed that you come back from holiday and you don't feel like you've been on holiday? You come back from holiday, you say like, I've done all those things but it didn't do it. So we spent all of our money, we've gone away, we've gone to the beach resort and all those sorts of things, and you come back and it still hasn't filled the void. So what we do is we don't understand that we have this void inside of us, so we just try and fill it with something else. By the time you come back from your holiday, you're already planning the next one. So we go on holidays. Or we buy lots of possessions. Material possessions, that's the thing that we're told. You buy the house, you get the bigger house, you get the next iPhone, you get all those sort of things. Let's think about how that works. How many of you, if you buy the latest model of the iPhone, the Samsung, whatever it is, and you think, you know what, I'm the first one to get this model amongst all my friends. And then, the next month, the next model comes out. How do you feel about your model? All of a sudden, the same phone that brought you happiness a month ago, it hasn't changed. It hasn't done anything less or more. Something has changed outside and you feel inferior, you feel low, you feel like, oh, everybody's got this now I'm going to do the next thing. So this materialism is something that's never ending. And when we can't deal with the void in our life, when we've tried all the simple things, then we go for the harder things. Then we start going towards drink, then we start going towards narcotics and drugs. Why? Because everybody's looking for that kushi. Everybody wants to feel that nasha. Because we can't find that nasha from simple things, so we start actually going to real things that start altering our minds. This is a problem for all of us. What we're really doing is we're running away from pain. Within us all, there is a dard, there's a pain, there's a void. But we don't face that void. We don't look at the problem. We're just trying to fill the hole with whatever it is that we think is society's recommendation for how to fill that hole. So we're all running away from work problems, stress, school issues. We all want to run away from them, and we want to go into something that's a lot more pleasurable. So we're seeking pleasures. But all of these pleasures are temporary, they never last. So you go, imagine you go out to a great concert, you watch a great movie, you buy your latest music. The next day, the problem comes back again. You've gone out to watch a great show or something like that. You might have a good memory of it, but the problem hasn't gone away. The next day, the problem is still there. You wake up in the next morning, you need some more stimulants, you need some more way to fix those problems. Ask yourself this question. Tell me one thing that you've ever bought in life where the happiness hasn't faded. Have a think. Something that you've bought in life where it just keeps giving, where it doesn't get boring, where it doesn't become the normal after a while.
There's nothing.
Most things you buy, it fades, but you go with so much expectation, right? Everything you buy leaves you wanting more. And you know what it is really useful for the younger generation to know this now? You might as well know this now. Nothing you buy is ever going to buy you happiness.
Yeah? They have to go through the experience.
Everyone has to go through it. Everyone goes through their own little ego trip. But at least
as long as you know the end result.
As long as you know that you're not buying happiness. Whatever you're buying is temporary. Just learn that now. So what we're doing is something that we think will buy us happiness eventually will buy us sadness. Yeah? And now when we look at Gurbani, Gurus have been telling us this stuff. This is what they're talking about. You know, people say, oh, I don't really know what Gurbani is about. It's about us. Everyone thinks Guru Granth Sahib is about God. Guru Granth Sahib isn't a manual about what God looks like and where you go to find Him and you've got to walk up these steps and take a left and take a right. That's not what it's about. The Guru Granth Sahib talks more about you than it talks about God. How many times does it talk about man? Man meria. It's talking about you. Oh my mind, why are you thinking like this? Why are you behaving like this? So Guru is actually giving us, how popular is self-help manuals these days? That's a massive industry of just self-help. Everybody is a lifestyle guru, everybody is a coach in some way. Huh? But Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the best self-help manual ever written. It stood the test of time. So Guru Granth Sahib Ji is about us and our problems. It's not about Mr. God. I like to call that guy Mr. God, we just like this guy with a white beard in the sky. That's not what it's about. So Guruji talks about our problems. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Sukh ko mange sab ko dukh na mange koi. Everybody is asking for happiness. Nobody is asking for suffering and sadness. Sukhe ko dukh agala manamukh booj na hoy. Every sadness is just behind. You buy happiness, and then just behind it is sadness. That thing which you think buys you happiness is eventually going to lead to sadness. But because we're lost in our mind, manamukh booj na hoy, we don't understand this because we're just listening to the content of our mind. And Guru's saying, how do you break out of this? How do you free yourself from this problem then? Sukh dukh samkar janiye. Know happiness and sadness to be the same. Treat happiness and sadness in the same light. Shabad ped sukh hoy. Pierce yourself with this knowledge, with this wisdom, let that really sink inside you. That's the Shabad, that's what the Guru means when he's talking about the Shabad, is the wisdom about this stuff. Shabad ped sukh hoy. Yeah? You need to pierce. Guruji is using the example like an arrow. Like Guru's firing this arrow of knowledge inside of us. And you will get sukh when you learn this message. That sukh and dukh are equal. But we just don't understand that analogy. Who can treat happiness the same as sadness? We just can't. Who wants sadness? I heard a beautiful example the other day. Somebody was saying to me that they know a person who, when they stand in their ardas, they say, Maharaj, please give me sukh. That's what we all do, right? We say, Maharaj, please give me sukh. This one person I heard of, they stand in their ardas, they say, Maharaj, please give me dukh. Give me dukh, give me suffering, because in suffering I end up remembering you. Dukh daru sukh ropaya. Sadness becomes the medicine, because only in sadness do you give up all hope and you say, okay God, finally now I've got time for you. Yeah? Otherwise we don't have time for God. Because we don't know what God is. Why should we believe in this thing called God? So how does religion solve all these problems? Let's get the meat of the discussion. How does religion solve these problems? It's very good just me sitting here telling us what our problems are. We say, yeah, we know that. We know what we're all going through. Actually, firstly, it's quite useful to just identify the problems. Sometimes if you're trying to solve something where you don't know what the problem is, then you don't know whether you're going left or right. So, how does believing in a God fix all these things? What I'll say to you is, you don't need to believe in God. And this is what people don't tell you. So let me explain what I mean. If you open a dictionary and you look the meaning of the word belief, you know what it says? Belief means to put your faith in something that you don't know to be true. Belief means put your faith in something that you don't know to be true.
Amazing.
That's the definition of belief.
Yeah, never knew it like this, but it's amazing.
So what that means is I can believe in aliens. I don't know that aliens exist, but I believe they exist. Somebody else can say, I believe in the tooth fairy. I don't know it exists, but I believe it exists. What my question to you is, do you think that was Guru Nanak Dev Ji's relationship with God? Did Guru Nanak Dev Ji believe that there was a God without knowing that there was a God? Or did Guru Nanak have a more deeper connection with something? You'd like to think so, right? He didn't just come in the world and say, none of you have seen this thing. None of you heard of it. None of you know how to get to it. But I think it's great, so I want all of you to sing its praises. Who will do that? This is what we're asking of our youngsters. Believe in God. Say, why? What is God? It's like if I come to you and I say, there's a really nice car. I haven't seen it and you haven't seen it, but I heard it's great. And every day, let's just sing songs about this car. You say, what does it look like? Oh, you can't see it. Can we drive it? Can we feel it? Can we touch it? No, you can't. But let's all get together, let's light some divas, let's all put incense and candles and let's get our vaja and tabla out and we start singing the praises of this car. Who will join my religion? Nobody. But because everybody's talking about this one thing, then you say, okay, yeah, it must be true then. So, I can categorically say that there is no room for belief in Sikhi. Because Sikhi means to put your faith in something you don't know to be true. And the Guru Nanak didn't want you to just believe in something. He wanted you to know that this thing is there. So how do you find this thing? How do you connect with something that you don't know what it is, where to start? So, what we think religion is, how many times do you hear people say, I know what Sikhi is, I've never read the Guru Granth Sahib, but Sikhi teaches you how to be a good person. Sikhi tells you to listen to your parents and do honest hard work and not cheat and not lie. That's not what Sikhi tells you. Those are just common morals that any society will teach you. You don't need a special granth to just tell you something so basic. Sikhi is not so basic, it's not so simple. It's not so fickle. But the ones who don't read Gurbani, they'll say, oh yeah, I know what Sikhi is about, it's just about being a good person. So what they're telling themselves is, I don't need to read it. I'm not killing anyone, I'm not cheating anyone, so I don't need to read this stuff. It's about how to be a good person. It's not about how to be a good person. There's a lot more than that. So it's not just about being honest and morality and things like that. What Sikhi is about is having a fundamental shift about how you see the world. A change has to happen in you. The way you see the world right now is the cause of our problems. That is what the Guru is trying to teach us. The way we see the world, the way we see ourselves causes our problems. So the first thing to do when we're going down this path of what is Sikhi, what is religion, what is it all about, let's identify the cause of our problems. Where does all of our emotional turmoil exist? Where does sadness exist? In the mind? But what do we blame when we feel sad?
Heart.
We blame our heart? I tell you what we blame everything else.
Yes.
External.
We blame everything else. I'll give you such a simple formula for how we treat happiness and sadness. When we get given something, we feel happy. When something gets taken away, we think that's sadness. And if you ask someone, why are you sad? You say, because of that. That thing has been taken away, whether it's a loved one, whether it's a car, whether it's any possession, anything that you're attached to. When that gets taken away, you say, that's sadness. I'm sad because I'm sad. But where's the sadness? The sadness is in here. It's not out there.
Because that's not affecting.
That's not doing anything. That's just an object.
Thing that's gone.
It's just a thing that's gone. Yeah? That's not where the sadness exists. The sadness exists in your mind. So the problem is in the mind, the solution is also in the mind. Otherwise you'll ask the person, what will make you happy again? You say, bring that thing back. But that's not going to happen. That thing's gone now. That doesn't mean your happiness should go. Happiness is inside of us as well. And what we've done is we've created attachments. That's another cause of our problems. So do you see the process that we're going through? First we identify what are our problems in reality. What are the things we all struggle with? Now let's identify why do we struggle with those things. Yeah? Anuviji said, start talking about God. Let's leave that to the end. Because God is not the solution if we don't know the problem. Let's understand the problem, then we'll understand the solution. We don't understand the problem yet, so we don't understand the solution, and the solution doesn't look like it works. So let's look at our own problems. Let's look at attachments. What we've done is we've created a whole world around us that we like to hold on to. But every single thing that we're attached to is temporary. Everything is going to go. There's nothing that you're attached to in the world that's going to stay with you. You know what that means? That means anything that makes you happy, you should know now is going to go away. Anything that makes you happy right now. Think about anything in your life that makes you really happy. And know now that thing is not going to last. Whether it's your favorite music, whether it's your favorite sport, whether it's your activity, celebrity, gossip that you like to engage in, whether it's your house, whether it's your families, your friends, nothing is going to last. And you might as well know that now. Because what we do is we ignore the future. We think it's going to stay forever. So we create an attachment. When it gets taken away, we're sad. We haven't mentally prepared for the fact that the world is temporary. When you look at Gurbani, that's all it's talking about. Guru Nanak Dev Ji reads Salok Malanoa. It's all about the world is like a dream. The whole world is useless. It's crumbling away. Supne Jyon Sansar it talks about, you know. Jagat rachna sab jhoot hai, jaan leo remi. Oh my friend, know that this is not real. This is what the Gurus are talking about. They're talking about us. They're talking about our life. And we don't want to read it because we think it's about somebody telling you to grow your hair. That's not what it's about. You open Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it's not a list of rules. It's advice for making our life better. That's why they are the Guru. That's why they're the Jagat Guru, the Guru of the world. Because for the first time somebody came down and said, I've got a solution that fits every person, in any language, in any country. Because the problems are so real for all of us. They're all the same problems that we face. But we don't want to touch those things. We don't want to be told, you know what? Your parents, they're not going to last. You know what? Your children, they're not going to last. We don't want to deal with that. So what we've done is we've fallen in love with our attachments. Completely fallen in love with them. You know what Guruji calls this whole thing of falling in love with something that's not going to last? Is this whole this idea of Maya. The word is a beautiful word, Maya. The word Maya has a lot of cultural context ingrained with it, which is why you can't translate it easily. It means materialism, but it also talks about it in almost like a feminine way. It talks about Maya like a seducting woman trying to entice a man. One time she shows her arm, one time she shows her leg. This is what we do with the world. Ooh, that latest model has come out. Oh, this is coming. Oh, that's coming. So what we do is we have fallen in love with Maya. Guruji talks about Maya, Kal Kalwali, Maya Mother Meetha. Maya is like a really tasty wine. It tastes nice, but it's a mother, it's a drug. And it's keeping you intoxicated. So, first thing to know is we are all drug addicts. All of us. We wake up in the morning and we drink the drug of Maya. Let that sink in for a moment. Don't think you're holier than anyone just because you're religious. Don't look down on somebody because they're not. We're all in the same boat. Every single one of us is addicted to a drug that we don't know that we're taking. We're taking the drug of Maya. You wake up in the morning and you think, this is real. This body is real. This life of mine is all real. It's all so important. Everything that I do in life is really important. But Guru is saying everything you do in life is not important. It's temporary. It's not going to last. And the sooner that you realize it, the better you're going to feel. You know what the biggest Maya is? You know what the biggest thing that we're all addicted to is?
Phone.
Phone? Much deeper than that.
Ego.
Ego? Along the same lines. We're all addicted to the biggest drug, which is we're addicted to ourselves. This is an addiction. We love ourselves. And you didn't know that that was even a possibility, to be addicted to yourself. You think you can be addicted to everything else, but how can I be addicted to myself?
Oh my God.
If you think about it, in reality, when it comes down to it, we'll say, take everything away from me, but don't take my life. Like everything else can go, but don't take this. How did the Gurus respond to that? जो तो प्रेम खिलन का चाओ सिर तर तली गली में आओ. If you're willing to give your life up, then you're ready to start Sikhi. That's what Sikhi demands of you. You know that line, if you've heard it before, that's written by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And 9 gurus later, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, what does he ask for in the Amrit Sanchar? What's he asking for? He's asking for a head. People think Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh Ji were dramatically different. They were exactly the same. They were the same person. He's also asking for a head. And this is not just exclusive to the Sikh gurus. All the Bhagats and the Brahmgyanis whose Bani we have, they're all saying the same things. Kabir Ji says, Jis marne te jag dare mere man anand. The death that everybody else is afraid of, that gives me bliss. Marne hi te paye puran paramanand. Death gives me supreme bliss. But we don't think like that. We think death is the worst thing that can happen to us. So the gurus are asking you to have a massive shift in the way you think. If you want happiness, if you want real happiness, the way you think has to be changed. You think death is bad, the Guru says actually death is something you're going to have to face. You have to embrace death if you want to be a Sikh. It's not easy now, is it? We think you just go to the Gurudwara, take it, put a bit of money down, ask Guruji, Guru, give me my exams, give me my this, give me my that. And then you've done your bit and you go home. If you want to be really special, you can pay for an account part. You don't have to listen to it, but somebody just does the part. Right? Guru doesn't want none of those things from you. Guru wants you to change the way you think. If you change the way you think, you will provide your own happiness. Guru is not going to give you happiness. Guru is the one who facilitates your happiness. Because the happiness is in you already. You just have to know, how do I get happiness out? So we're talking about big things here, but Sikhi demands big things from us. It's not simple. It's not just, I wear a pug on my head and that's it, I'm going to be happy in life. Because the people wearing the pugs on their head aren't happy. And then the rest of us who don't have the pugs on our head, we're looking at them and saying, these guys aren't fixed. Why am I going to go that way? These guys got their own problems. One of the things we hear time and time again is that people say, we need to teach the kids Sikhi. You know what that means? It implies that we know it. It implies we've been going to the Gurudwara for years. We generally get.
We don't
the gist
learn from the Gurudwara. I'm the first one to raise my hand.
We think we've kind of got the gist of it, and the children aren't getting it. So let's just push it towards them. But we need to learn.
We need to learn it.
We have to learn. So the kids say, Mom, Dad, you're genuinely happy in life. I need to know what that is. I'm going to come to you to figure out how to do what that is. So it's like lead by example. And what we're saying is, but we do our Nityanem, so you should do your Nityanem. And that's just not going to work anymore. That's just not going to be enough for people anymore. We have to give them a reason. And you know what? We're coming from a very different culture. Look at our parents, our grandparents' culture. There was no room for asking questions, and they were trained in that way. Sawal nahi puchida hunda. Siyaane ne kehta, that's it. The elders have told us this is what we do. They know what's best, and we do it. But now, the more the generation thinks in English, they also are critiquing in English. They're also thinking in a way that says, we're taught this in school, how to challenge everything. The teachers say, ask questions. If you don't understand, ask questions. So the kids come home and say, Mom, Dad, why should I be Sikh? And you say, don't ask any questions. The challenges that they're facing are different. The way that they think are different. We have to meet them. Sikhi is still relevant. It's going to be relevant.
It'll be relevant.
It'll be relevant. As long as humans are around,
absolutely,
it'll be relevant.
Very relevant.
So, but how we address those issues, how we introduce Sikhi to them has to be updated. We can't keep telling the same old stories and expecting the same results. So we have to now understand it for ourselves. And this is where it becomes difficult, because you can't now just give it to somebody else to teach. You can't just say, oh, just go to the Gurmat camp and then, oh, you came back, you learned your nickname, chalo badhiya. That's it. That's not just going to work anymore. We have to know what the Guru is saying, and we have to just listen. That's all the Guru has ever asked from us. You know, we go to the Guru and we're not listening. What's the first step? Is Suniye. In Japji Sahib, you go through the stages. The first 4 bodies, which are going into detail about the first step, is Suniye. Listen. Just listen to what we have to say. This stuff is good for you. Yeah?
It has to be more user-friendly. You listen, but you don't understand.
We have to make it user-friendly now.
It's not at the moment.
Yeah.
For the kids, it's not user-friendly at all.
It's not user-friendly. In fact, Guru Granth Sahib Ji...
They'll say we heard it, but I don't know
even
what it
when you read Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it's not... In some Baniya is simple language, in some Baniya is much more complicated language.
That has to be...
And what we have to understand is, in the Guru's times, they weren't trying to make it complicated.
Yeah, they weren't.
The Pandits and all the people from the Brahmin tradition, they had kept Sanskrit as this kind of divine language. The Guru says, forget that. I'm going to teach people in their language. You got Gujarati, Farsi, all these different Hindi, Punjabi, all these languages are in there because Guru just goes everywhere and said, what do you speak? I'll explain it to you in your language. So we have to do the same. That's why Prachar in English is becoming more popular now.
Yeah.
But we have to identify what is our problem. What are the problems in our life? So let's go even further. I said that we are the biggest drug of our own lives. Yeah? Now we have to understand, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm a drug? What do you mean I'm the problem? So then we have to ask a very interesting question. Who are you? This is where I'm going to get you guys to talk. Yeah? Let me say a simple question to you. Who are you? When I ask you this question, like Benji, if I ask you, who are you? We've never met before, who are you?
A soul, a
I know
light.
your name. That's what I would say.
If I've never met you before,
Oh,
what would you say?
I'd introduce you, I'll say my name.
You say your name. Yeah? What if I kept probing and kept asking the same question? So let's say you've given me your name. Then I say again, okay, now tell me, who are you? Then you might think, okay, I'll give you my occupation. Yeah, I'm a lawyer. You say, okay, who are you? You say, I'm a mother. You say, who are you? I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I'm a this, I'm a that. So what you start doing is you start throwing at me all of what we call your self-identity. Everything that you know about yourself, you're going to start presenting it to me, if I keep probing. And as we go deeper and deeper into that conversation, once you've moved past the most basic elements of who you are, then you will start telling me more trivial things about yourself. Oh, I'm a vegetarian. Oh, I'm a Man United supporter. Oh, I used to be a this. Do you see what I mean? You start doing those things. This is a very good insight into who we are. Who you are is an illusion. But what we need to know is, where did this illusion come from? Because I don't feel like an illusion. I feel quite real. Yeah, this is bones and hadiya and mass like this. It feels all real. Yeah, let's think about this illusion. The first thing you tell me about yourself is your name. Now, I want you to think of an analogy like a house, like you're building a house. First, you need a good foundation. You need solid stones that the house can be built on. This is what your identity is based on. What you start doing is you start telling me all the things that you know will never change in your life. Like your name is not going to change. You say, right, this is who I am. Your gender is never going to change. You say, I'm a man, I'm a woman. That's fixed. Yeah? You might say, I'm a Sikh. I know that's not going to change. That's not. Let's think about our identity. Then you start thinking about, what is your identity made of? These fundamental blocks. So your parents are never going to change. That's another thing. I belong to this family. That's this. Yeah? Then you say, I'm married to this person. That's going to change. So that's your fundamental basis, the foundation for your mansion of your own identity. Then you build the bricks that are probably changeable. Like, one day you'll tell me you're a student, but then later that brick can be swapped for another occupation. I used to be a student, now I'm a doctor. I used to be a doctor, now I'm a surgeon. So some bricks can get changed. And then as we go higher and higher up this mansion, then all the bricks are things that are changeable. I used to be a vegetarian, now I'm a this, I used to be this, I used to be a that. You know, I used to like this football team, but now I like that football team. Slowly, slowly, if I keep probing, who are you, who are you, who are you, what you're doing is you're revealing all of these bricks to me. You're showing me your entire identity. This is what you are, what you think you are. Yeah?
No, I said it's your DNA. You are just trying to probe it.
Yeah, even your body,
Basically, yeah.
that's another one. You say, I'm a man, fixed. Yeah? All of these things. Now imagine that there is 1,000,000 arms reaching every single one of these 1,000,000 bricks. Like you're trying to hold this whole mansion together, you're trying to keep it all together, and you say, don't let go of that one, don't let go of that one, don't let that one go. All of those arms are your attachments. Every single brick that you have created around your own mansion, you put one arm out there and said, I want to hold on to that, don't let that one go. There are some things up there which are changeable, like I drive a BMW, and then later you might say, you know, I'm bored of a BMW, get rid of it now, I want to drive a Land Rover. Yeah? You can say, let go of that one, I can let go of that attachment. So we need to understand our attachments. Your attachments are to all these things. But let's think about this. How many of those things did you make? How many of those things originate from you? Who gave you your name? Did you pick your own name? Parents did. Who gave you your body? Did you pick? Did you decide man or woman? Who decided what family you're going to be born into?
We don't know.
Right? Not you,
We don't
right?
know. It wasn't
Not
you.
us.
Not us.
Yeah?
We don't know.
But what you're doing is you're attaching to all these things that are not really you. Not really yours. They're all given. And if I start taking those things down, one by one, taking all those, that's where your dukh starts coming in. What you're doing is you're holding on to all these things because that's all you know about yourself. You say, if you take these things away, what's left? Guru Nanak Dev Ji is a sledgehammer. Guru Nanak Dev Ji comes with a sledgehammer and wants to knock all those things down because he wants to show you, you're not any of these things, you're the light inside the house. You're not this temporary structure that you built around you. My body, my life, my occupation, my job, all these things. The Guru is saying, if you've built a house around you, every single one of those bricks is going to fall. None of those bricks are going to stay with you. Guaranteed, you might as well know that now. They're not going to stay with you. But when all of those bricks get knocked down, there's still something left. That is when we start going into this analogy of, who am I? I am this light. Guru has talked about this jyot, this light. So imagine this house that you built, but in the middle of that house there's a light that's burning bright. That's who you are. You're not the bricks of that house. But what you're doing, because you are a light, you're shining a light on all the bricks. And because you're shining a light on all the bricks, you say, oh, look at these beautiful bricks. Look at that one, look at my body, look at my life, look at my house and all those things. You don't realize that you're the light that's actually making them shine. You don't realize that it's your light that's making them shine. But you're attracted to all those bricks and you're holding on to all those bricks. When Guru talks about dying in the spiritual tradition, he doesn't mean you have to die. He means get rid of all of your attachments. What that means is all of those bricks are going to go anyway. Just let go of every single arm. Every arm that's holding on to everything, start letting go. This is now what the spiritual path is starting to lean towards. First we have to understand who we are. Then we have to understand what have we done to ourselves. Then only we can start understanding what is the Guru actually teaching us. The Guru is saying, because of all of these things, when any one of those things gets taken away, you get sad. And you don't know why you get sad because you say the brick is gone. The brick is not the reason for your sadness. Your attachment to the brick is the reason for your sadness. Our attachment to our body, to our family, to our children, to our home. Just think about anything that you own. Think about your favorite clothes. Somebody takes it away from you, you get sad. If it gets stained, if it gets burned, if it gets ruined in some way, you get sad. Now multiply that for the rest of your life. That's going to keep happening. Every tiny thing. For a little child, it's like a toy. He's playing with something, and then like, oh, you know, Paji came and took it away from me, now I'm sad, I was playing with that toy. Yeah? That problem is going to keep happening to you. The problem isn't that these things are going to get taken away. The problem is you decided that I hold on to this brick, I like this thing. I like my body. I like myself. This is what I mean, that you're addicted to your own self. You're holding on to your own body, your own attachments, your own identity. Forget the rest of the world. It's what you think you are. We're holding on to that more than anything else. Because take everything away from me, but don't take these things away from me. The Guru says, they're going anyway. Start letting go now, you'll feel happy. Your sadness comes from where? Where do your problems come from? Where does your tension come from in life? It comes from you holding on to these things.
It's the fear of losing them.
Fear of losing them. Where does fear of losing them come from? Is the expectation that I'm not going to lose it.
Yeah, exactly.
So this idea that they're going anyway, you have to just get comfortable with it. This is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji brought to the world, and he said, this is called hukam. Hukam means things are going to happen. That's it. Things are going to happen. Either you can accept them and deal with it, or you're going to cry about it. But they're going to happen, and they're not going to ask your permission. Life is going to happen. All of those bricks that you're holding on to, they're going to go in some way or another. How do you prepare yourself? Look, think about Japji Sahib, right? The first page of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. The first question that is asked in Guru Granth Sahib Ji is, Give Sachiara Hoiye. How do I get this truth in my life? How do I break all the falsehood in my life? Give Kure Tutte Paar. Guruji says, walk on the path of Hukam. Hukam Razai Chalana. Go along with Hukam. So imagine Hukam like a river that's just flowing. Every time you just let go, the river takes you. Life will take you. Whatever is going to happen, it just happens. What is dukh when you're trying to swim the other way? That says, no, I don't want this hukam to happen. The longer and harder you swim, the more tired you're going to get, the more distressed you're going to get, the more depressed you're going to get. Where that river is going that way, no matter how hard you try. Life is going in that direction, and you still holding on to an expectation that it's going to go in that direction. Like, I wasn't ready to lose this yet. Guru says, why weren't you ready? Did that it was going to go? Did you not know that it was going to go? Did you not know that your family are going to die? We all get so upset when our family members die. It's natural, we say, right? And everybody is all saying the same things. The Guru's not saying that. The Guru's saying, it's going. Prepare for it now.
I warned you.
Yeah, I've told you already. I've warned you. So there's a really simple formula, and I quite like these mathematical formulas. I like to keep things really simple. Expectation minus reality equals sadness. I'll go into it. Yeah? Expectation minus reality. Reality says this is happening. Expectation says I don't want it to happen. The more your expectation deviates from the reality, the more your sadness is. The cause of your sadness isn't the reality, it's the expectation. Expectation minus reality. If you get rid of expectation, then all you're left with is reality, there's no sadness. Reality equals reality. Hukam is hukam. So when Gurbani is saying, Jo jo tera hukam tive tyo hamara, whatever is going to happen, I'm happy. This is a great question. Should ambition not be there? Should we not try to achieve things in life? You know, built into the human condition, built into our DNA, is this idea to progress. In fact, all animals have this idea that they want to succeed, evolve, they want to win in some way. We have expectations of succeeding. The success isn't the problem. The ambition and wanting to succeed isn't the problem. It's the expectation. You can do all the hard work to train for an exam, but you never know what the result is going to be. That's the bit that you have to deal with. That you know that you've done as much as you can, but the result is not in your hands. The expectation is, you can have a hope that I hope I'm going to get a good result. But it's not an expectation. Expectation says, if I don't get a good result, I'm going to be sad. Because in my head, I'm going to get an A. I'm going to get that job, I'm going to get that car, I'm going to get that life. Expectation is the cause of our sadness. We have to teach them this acceptance, that whatever is going to happen, result is result.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then maybe you try again next time,
Absolutely.
you try harder next time, or whatever. But the cause of their suffering is going to be the expectation that I expected the A and I got the B. You said, no, that's not the thing. You did the hard work, you got a B, that's it. What you know, they say, I heard a great thing. Worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere.
Yes.
It just gives you something to do. Now you're worried about it, oh, I didn't get an A, I got a B, what will I do? The reality is you got a B.
They're not worried about the A, the kid.
It's things like that that we're not told, that actually Sikhi deals with the most simplest of formulas in life. The Guru doesn't want you to be sad. That's the simple truth. The Guru I found out how to be happy, I'm going to help other people how to be happy. And Hukam, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, is the first message that he's given. The first answer to the first question is Hukam. If you can understand Hukam, half your problems are gone. Most of your problems are gone. Just by accepting that reality is going to happen. Now you can contextualize it in some way that this is God's will, this is the universe's will, whatever. But it's happening. Life is happening. Deal with it. Deal with it before it happens. Deal with life before it happens. Deal with things before they happen. So we have to start looking at very real scenarios. How do we deal with that? Now, the hardest thing that we deal with is death in life. Because the expectation is always there that they're going to be there. And we also say things like, oh, he died too soon, he was too young. What are we saying? That the whole universe doesn't know what it's doing? Like it wasn't his time? Well, how do you know what his time was? Who decides that everybody's going to live to 100 years old? Who made that expectation? We made that expectation. The universe says, I decide when I'm going to give birth to this thing and I decide when I'm going to take it away. It's not anything to do. The universe has nobody's permission to ask. It doesn't ask your permission. It's not giving to you and taking away from you. It has nothing against you. This is the system. The river is flowing in this way.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. So we don't know how to deal with these things. So how do we deal with the death of a loved one? We don't. We just struggle with it at the end when it happens. But if we could learn that every day that we see them is a bonus. You know what I do? Every day that I walk away from my family, so okay, I'm going to work. I say goodbye to them. I walk away in my head knowing that could be the last time I see them. And the world will tell you that's a really morbid way to look at the world. Our parents and our grandparents' generation would say, don't talk about death. It's like you're inviting death. Yeah? They would say, don't talk about these things. Like somehow just by you talking about death and accepting death, like you're going to invite death. Let me tell you something, death is not waiting for our invitation. Death is not waiting for us. Death is going to come and take every single one of us, whether we invite him or not. You can talk about death all your life. Guru Nanak Dev Ji introduces the idea of death right in the Mool Mantra. He talks about Kal. He said, this is happening. Gurujis weren't afraid of death. The Khalsa, you know, before when Guru Gobind Singh Ji created the Khalsa, you know what their name used to be? Akalis. Beyond death. Beyond death. Why? Because they'd already accepted their own death. The death of them and the death of everybody else. How else do you get countless people willing to die? Willing! You know, there's a story of Guru Gobind Singh Ji that somebody presented him with a big rifle, a brand new shotgun. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji said that I want to try this rifle out, see how good it is. Yeah? Guru said, is there anybody here that's willing for me to fire the shot at them to test my new rifle? The story goes that there was a father and son who were kicking and pushing each other out of the way to be the first in the queue. Because they'd get shot by Guru Gobind Singh Ji's bullet. Where does that mentality come from? So willing to die. That can only come from one place, when they've already died. They've already accepted their death. Every day that you live now is a bonus. But we don't think like that. For us it's the opposite. Death is like the worst thing that can happen to us. And every day we know we're getting closer to death, but it's like, let's not talk about it, let's get rid of it. So, remember what I said at the beginning? What is Sikhi trying to do from you? It's trying to give you a complete shift. The way you think right now is causing your problems. Change the way you think, and all your problems go away. You know what it is? I wish somebody had told me some of these things. Because what you're hearing is the key to happiness. That's all the Guru wants to give you, is the key to happiness. How to be happy. What do we think the key to happiness is? When I grow up, when I get a lot of money, I'm going to be able to buy all the stuff that I want to buy.
You get married, you have kids.
You get married, you have kids, you buy a big house, and outside it you park a nice big sports car, and then inside it I'm going to convert this room into a walk-in closet, and another room I'm going to make in an indoor swimming pool and an indoor home theatre and all these sort of things. Do all those things and see where you get, because you've got lots of very wise people here that will tell you, we've been there, son.
Yeah, done it.
Now what? That's not where your happiness is going to come from. It's not that you don't reach for those things, it's not that you don't have ambition, but just don't have this false hope that that's where the happiness is.
So those are byproducts. I look at them as byproducts.
Yeah.
These come along.
They come.
And they go.
But they go as well. They come, but they go as well.
It's a byproduct.
Happiness exists somewhere else. That's not in these things. And we might as well start, if we want to teach our children Sikhi, we got to teach them the meaning of what it means to be happy in life. And this stuff is universal. And this stuff does come from the Guru. Notice so far, I haven't even talked about God. We haven't even begun to talk about God. Maybe if Virji invites me next time, we can start talking about God.
The topic hasn't started as yet.
The topic hasn't started because first we have to identify the problems, then we have to know why we create the problems, then only we can start talking about the solutions. This is what the Guru does. The Guru doesn't work in halves.
Thank you.
This is what Gurbani is talking about. I'm so sorry that we haven't even talked about God yet. But that's a whole nother kettle of fish. Gurbani isn't trying to push a belief system onto you. Gurus didn't come here to say, you have a whole bunch of options. One is called Christianity, one's called Hinduism, one's called Islam. They're all okay, but I made a better one. Like, come join my club. The Guru not interested in you joining the club. What did the Guru do? What did Guru Nanak Dev Ji do? He says, you're a Hindu? Let me show you how to be a Hindu. He says, you're a Muslim? Let me show you how to be a Muslim. This is what your Bani is saying, this is what it really means. In fact, they just encourage you to do this. We need to know Sikhi in this way that we can teach everybody else this is what your Dharam really means. We have no interest in you leaving your club and joining my club. What am I going to get from that?
Again, expectations will start, so forget
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, what am I going to get if you join my club?
Yeah, exactly.
Your expectations are causing your own suffering. It's so simple when you think about it, but it needs that major shift in life. This is what it's all about, is that how do we change the way I think? Because the way I think is causing my problems.
Hi, thanks for watching and I hope you're enjoying our videos. Nanak Naam is all about simplifying the life-changing wisdom of Guru Nanak Dev Ji and making it freely available to everyone through online videos, podcasts, booklets and courses. And we need your donations to spread these teachings even further. Please set up a regular monthly donation by visiting nanaknaam.org/donate. With your support, we're taking Gurmat global.